All right, let's go see how she does.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 yo, go, go, go. Hustle hard, hustle every single day. I'll be making moves till I'm buried in my grave. To the system, I don't wanna be a slave. I've been doing shit my way, or the highway. And in the driveway is a nice range. Cause I grind through the climb, I invite pain. You'll never hear me, bitch, nah, I don't complain. Just gotta flip the switch and you can go and obtain anything you want, anything you need. Your mind's got the key ingredient, it's belief. They'll deceive with the negativity, but I just slide right by that energy. Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 but even that could change. You can flip the gray matter like some batter in your brain. That's why I say, fake it till you make it A. And if you play that game, then you just might make a change. Rearrange all the bad to okay. Take the worst thoughts saying, turn them to a game. Take the best thoughts saying, put them on display. On repeat in your brain till you're feeling no more pain. Never slow yourself down, you can do some more. Push past all the pain and you find a door. Open it up and finally explore everything that you thought you could never do before. Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still.
Alright, I probably should be testing only the pipe alone this weekend, but I couldn't help myself to go in and make some further changes. Again, I'm looking for, you know, a little more power than this. And so I went ahead and tried tightening up the squish band a little bit tighter. I went ahead and did a little bit more milling. Kept the compression ratio pretty much at stock for now. And I got it down to about 32 thousandths right here on the end. I got it down to 32, and then right where it's about 38 thousandths right here, and then it climbs up to probably about 44 or so. Yeah, 44 right here. Make sure there's no dents in it right out the box. She's looking good, guys. A little surface rust already, but that kind of happens. Okay, let's bolt her on. Let's see how she sounds. Got the butt plug in. Sounding pretty sweet. All right, let's go ahead and take her to Days City, test out the new changes on the head and a new pipe, see if I got to make any jetting changes while I'm out there, and let's see how she does. Here we go. Well, a little bit of a change of plan. I'm actually over here at Croom, and close to Brooksville, Florida. It's a free riding area, state owned, just like 5 square miles of woods and a training pit. But I'm gonna do my tuning out here today, and then take her to Dade City to the track tomorrow, and see how she runs. So this will all be on this video. So let me get geared up, go do a preliminary run on her real quick, see how she's doing. I brought with me today, of course, a assortment of jets, but also I brought the stock pipe in case I want to try the stock pipe against this Pro Circuit pipe, which I most likely will do. I'll throw the stock pipe back on, see what the difference is. I also brought the stock head back just in case the changes I made to this head doesn't quite work out. I at least can throw the stock head on so the bike is rideable for the time being until I get the head sorted out. But let's see. Let's go get her warmed up and see what we got. Great day at Croom's, by the way. The weather was perfect for a summer day. It rained pretty good the day before, so there was a lot of puddles everywhere, but that's okay. Just had to wait for these people to kind of get out of the way. She's feeling good and strong. I'm not really riding my best. I'm not here to really ride, just tune. So don't pay attention to my riding so Alright, short preliminary ride done. Man, she's performing really good. And that's the thing with doing two mods at one time, or two changes at one time. I changed the head profile a little bit more, went a little tighter than Squish, and put the Pro Circuit pipe on at the same time. Now that I've done that, I don't know what's doing it, but boy, she's performing really good. This is really strong, a little bit of jetting, it should be even better. But what I'm going to do so I know which one did which is first I'm going to jet her in real quick, get her the best I can, and then I'm going to put the stock pipe back on. I brought the stock head too, but it's easier to change out the pipe, so I'll just put just the stock pipe on, and at least I'll be able to see what that head did on its own, and then I can, with my imagination, I can imagine where the pipe added to it. But because I have ridden that bike with the stock pipe last week and the week before, so I know how the stock pipe performs, so I'll be able to compare that head with this. But let me go ahead and get it jetted in first. So right now I got a 430 main. I'm going to shoot down to I'm going to shoot up to a 450. Just make sure I'm not running too lean. See if I gain a little bit of girth. If I gain a little bit of girth out of the power, that'll let me know that I was running on the edge of being too lean. However, if it kind of doesn't make a difference, or if it seems like it kind of starts to kind of make it run a little bit flat up top, then I know I'm getting too rich and to go back down to the 430. So let me pop in that 450 real quick. Whew, these jets are hard to see. Put a phone camera, magnify it. That's a 450. All right, let's pop that in. All right, real quick jet change, shut the gas off. I know the carburetor's dirty and the bike's dirty, and some people are like, oh, you don't work on a dirty bike, but how else are you going to find the perfect jetting? I mean, back-to-back comparison, so as long as you don't get any dirt in there, and I usually don't. Alright, just roll the carburetor towards me a little bit so I can get to the throttle cable on top here. And I'm going to loosen that all the way up. That allowed me to spin the carburetor around the bottom side all the way without the cable getting in the way, so I can get the main jet out of there. Alright, have that loosened up all the way. Get you in there to see how it's loose all the way. So now I can just spin the carburetor this way. Before I spin it too far, I'm going to loosen up the 17 on the bottom and let that start draining, because if you just grab the carburetor and spin it all the way, sometimes, yeah, it does have that overflow hoses will drop fuel, but sometimes it can actually drop some fuel directly in the motor, and then you got a flooded motor and you got to pin it to get it to start up. I find that's more of an issue on this bike than it is on the YZ125 stroke. The YZ125 stroke, you can just twist it. Also, make sure your hose is long enough to do this. Sometimes, if your hose is short, you might have to disconnect the fuel line. There we go. Getting gas all over my fingers, but it is what it is. And a little 6mm socket or a nut driver. Boom. I got my main jet. Let me go ahead and get the 450, pop that in. I'm guessing it's going to be either the 450 or the 430 that I'm going to stumble on. And the reason I say that is because it seems like it's really close. I'm only doing this just to see what, see a little contrast. Pop in a little bit richer, see what I got, and then, I can use my mind to figure out what a little bit more richer, a little bit more leaner than that would do, or if one of these two jets are perfect. And I'm thinking it's going to be one of these two jets. Then after I get this main jet sorted out, it seems like the pilot's good. I'm going to leave that where it's at. I'm running the 40 pilot right now. And the fuel screw, or the air screw, is pretty damn close. It might be better there, I don't know. I'll play with that a little bit later too. But after I get this sorted out, I'm going to play with the needle a little bit. I'm going to change it. I'm thinking about trying one richer on it and see how that does. Okay, now I got to get the throttle cable back on there, so let me do that. And go ahead and tighten the carburetor back down. And I'm going to get my helmet on, take it for another spin, see how this 450 main does. And like I was mentioning about the needle, I'll go one richer on the needle clip and see what that does. I don't think leaner is the way to go right now on the needle. It doesn't feel, if anything, it feels like it might benefit from going richer, but it doesn't feel like it's going to benefit from going leaner. And that's just experience. After you play with these carburetors, if you have, you already know, but if you haven't, after you play with them for a while, you kind of start to know the feeling of when it's rich or lean, and that definitely gives you a heads up of which direction to go. So let me gear up and go test it out. Woo! Well, the 450, it did okay. I like the 430 better. The 450 maybe just kind of takes out just a little bit of the zip of the motor on the very, very top. And that kind of indicates to me that it's just crossing the line of being on the richer side. Not overly rich, just a little on the richer side. I mean, honestly, if I had my choice right now, I would try out a 440, but I don't have a 440 with me. All I have is 430, 450, 460, 470, and 490. So, being that I only have a 430 and a 450, not a 440, I'm going to go back to the 430 for now. That's good, but I will be purchasing a 440 to try out. I'm going to need it anyway, I believe, as the weather gets a little cooler. So I'm just going to need that in my arsenal. So let me go ahead and put the 430 back in, and then I'm going to pop the needle clip one clip richer and see what that does. All right, I went ahead and put the 430 back in. While I have the carburetor loose and I can swivel it, and I have the throttle cable here loose, I can move it around. I'm going to go ahead and I swiveled it toward the top towards me. I'm going to go ahead and remove these two Phillips right here. Well, one richer on a needle clip did not do good at all. The right from get-go, I didn't even go make it out to the pit right as I was just going through the woods heading to the pit. Bike was running all blurberly. I gave it throttle when I tipped into it somewhere right past 1/8 of a throttle, maybe even a click before 1/8 of a throttle. it would already start getting blurberly. So I just turned around, don't want to foul spark plug out, turned around, and I'm going to put the needle clip back to the stock position in the middle. Woo! Alright, just did a test run with the stock Jetty, I mean not stock Jetty, the 430 main, the needle clip in the middle position, which seems to be perfect for this bike so far. It's just running really good, really strong. But I want to know what's making it run so well now, since I did the head change and the pipe at the same time. So I'm going to put the stock pipe on it and just see what the head feels like alone, and that'll give me an idea what's going on. Okay, got the stock pipe back on. Let's go test her out. And then after this, I think I'm even going to play with the ignition timing a little bit. I'm going to try to slightly retard the timing and see what that does. But first, let me see what this stock pipe does with this head and try to figure out what's going on and where my gains are at. Or are they combined? Let's see. Woo! All right, first I'm going to start by saying I'm going to guess the same guy that designed the YZ125 pipe, also stock pipe, also designed the YZ125 stock pipe, because they're very similar. And the same guy that designed the Pro Circuit YZ250 pipe, works pipe, must have designed the Pro Circuit YZ125 pipe, because they're both similar. They both change the bike in the same ways. This stock pipe makes a little more on the very bottom, and it kind of fills in the middle in a torquey way. Not a fast running torque, but just a tugging torque right up in the middle area before the power band kicks in. And but it doesn't make quite as much power in the power band. The Pro Circuit pipe doesn't quite have as much bottom, but it's very clean on the bottom, crisp and clean, just not as much tugging torque, but clean and crisp. And it kind of, you know, makes the mid-range feel a little stretched, just a hair stretched out. Kind of, if you don't grab the clutch, you almost have to give it a second to pop into the power band. If you're not going for the clutch, you rush it in there. But once it gets in there, it definitely makes more power, and it's zippier and it's quicker through the power band. So the Pro Circuit's a winner for me over the stock. Stock's not bad. It's not bad at all, but the Pro Circuit's a winner for me. Now, where the head stands, now that I tested that head with the stock pipe, because remember I had that head on last week with some changes. I had to squish down to 35 thousandths on the outer edge last weekend, and with the stock pipe. And now I have it at about 31 or 32 thousandths on the outer edge with the stock pipe. It's better. It's got more power. It's same power, just a little bit more. So that was a good change. I'm not gonna just stick with this. Obviously, I have two heads to work with, so I'm gonna keep this head exactly where it's at and start working on it. Now that I have this one good, I'm gonna start working on the other head. So maybe by next week I'll have the other head at a slightly different profile. I think I'm going to stick with this squish band clearance as of now. I'm just going to work on the dome, the compression. I'm going to try a little bit higher compressions and a little bit lower compressions and kind of find the spot that I like the best. I'm just looking to make it the best for me. So let me go ahead and get this Pro Circuit pipe back on, and now I'm going to go ahead and try retarding the ignition timing just a hair and see what that does. Actually, scratch that idea for today. I'm going to leave the timing where it's at for today because, like I pointed out, it's ever so slightly advanced over stock, and I get real OCD with it. If I don't like retarding it, I'm going to want to put it exactly where it was. And I like to scribe a mark that it really is like dead on so I can put it back. I just don't have anything here today to scribe a mark into it. So I'm going to save that for the next video. What I'm going to do right now is fine-tune the air screw real quick. I mean, it's really close, but it sometimes feels like it might be a tad bit rich just when you ever so slightly crack the throttle. And so I'm going to play with that for a second, and I'm going to do a nice little ride on her and really feel the finished product, because I'm pretty much considering this a finished product for today. And then I'm going to take out the Dade City, put her on the track tomorrow, and see how she does where the rubber meets the road. Alright, just working on getting that air screw dialed in now. I found 2.5 turns was a little on the rich side for today in this setup, and I ended up settling on 2.3 or 2 turns, 2 3/4 of a turn. Kind of cleaned it right up, got rid of that little bit of blubber that it had right when you just ever so slightly cracked in the throttle. I mean, I left a little bit of blubber in, the ever so slight, because if you get too lean, then, you know, on the track when you get it hot and you're running it hard, you know. So I like to leave a little bit of that in there, just so things don't get too lean when I really got her open, wide open, and I gotta let go of the throttle. This is a good section to test the motor. It goes downhill right here. But then up here you go uphill in this deep sand. Just power robbing sand going up this hill. Anytime I can get a 125 and see all the way up that hill pretty good, it's going to get good at the track. The one up this hill right here robs a lot of power. If you ever been to Croom, you know what I'm talking about. I've blown a lot of motors in this pit, especially 125s back in the day, working them hard. I'd come out here and set up a little course and just run motos on it, burn up pistons, cranks, break gearboxes. It's a tough place. I don't think the camera does a good job at showing how rough it is. Like right here, boom, that's a deep little hole right there. And then when you hit the warps, they're a lot bigger than what the camera shows, especially when you start getting up in speed. But she was running good and strong. Every time it would fall off the pipe, it just kind of picks right back up into it on its own usually. Rubbed out good. I'm excited to see how she's going to do tomorrow. These whoops right here can get pretty bumpy at that speed. That's like 4th gear right there. And that's it for this test. Let's take her to Dade. Alright, I'm done with tuning out here for the day. I just went and did my final ride with all my final settings, what I consider a complete package for the day. Man, she's performing so good. I hope you can hear it in the video. Anytime it falls underneath the power band, like let's say I come out of the corner in a gear and I shift too early and it goes under, I don't even have to go for a clutch. It goes whoa, whoa. It goes whoa, right on there and wing, and pulls right back into the power band. And then it revs really nice and high, makes good power, and it seems like the peak power, I mean, it has a really good strong thrusty mid at the bottom of the power band, and then it signs off with just one good hard yank right at the very end. It feels like a full-on race bike. This is right there. This is right there with the full-on race bike. To me, it feels like it, and that's pretty impressive with just a good head mod and a exhaust system and getting the jetting sorted out. I mean, that's how good these modern day bikes are. You really don't have to do a whole lot to them, I don't think, anymore. But anyway, so I'm gonna take it to Day City and let's put it on the track and see where it see where the rubber meets the road. But right now it's feeling really good, man. And so let's take it to Dade City and see how it does. Here we go. Dade City did not work out today. Canceled. A whole bunch of tracks got rain, so we just came back up to Croom. Not gonna be able to do a track test, I guess. But I got a little more tuning to do. So I have some different I have some different spark plugs to try out and see how that does. All right, here's what we're gonna do now. I'm gonna do a little spark plug shootout. Let's see, I know I got some in here. All right, here we go. Show you what I got. So right now I have in there the BR9 EIX, which is stock for the YZ125. I did pick up a BR10 EIX, that's one heat range colder just in case I need it, but as of yet, I don't feel like I need it. I might need it once I get it on a track where I can really pull hard motos. But another plug I'm looking to try out is this weird thing right here, R6252K-105. This is actually a 1.5 heat range. I use these in like the KX85, the KX85 and the KX125, I mean the KX100. I'll show you how it looks once it's in the combustion chamber. Of course, I have to wrench it down to get the crusher washer, but you'll see it has a different profile. But once I bolt it down all the way, I'm sure that it at least matches the surface. It should, because I haven't crushed the crush washer yet. But we're going to test that one out just to see what it does. You know, you never know, right? In the past, I've tried this before on different bikes, and I was kind of surprised with the difference it made. Then I got this, what is it? BR10 EC MIX. See, they use these in the KTMs, and it's a 10 heat range. And I'll show you how this looks once we get it in the combustion chamber here. So let's see here. You can see that one even has a different profile. And the interesting thing is, some sit up higher and some sit up lower in the combustion chamber. They're actual electrodes. Let me see if I can get them lined up here. That's really hard to get on the camera. You see how this one, the electrode sticks out pretty high right here. You can see it sticking out above. And this one right here, focus. Get my finger there. There we go. You can see that one. You can't even see the electrode. It's like flush. Where this one is sticking a little above. And then this one, the electrode is, if I get the camera to focus on it. Yeah, that one's flush too. So I think I'm going to start with this one right here, the what the heck they call it, the one that goes into KTM, the BR10 EC MIX. I'm going to pop that in real quick and give that a test run and see how it does. The BR10 EC-MIX, that seemed to have a little more up top, like at the over-rev area, maybe a hair bit less bottom, but it definitely kind of freed up the over-rev just a little bit. So now I'm going to go ahead and pop in this weird one right here and see how that one does. Okay, this plug right here, it kind of had the same bottom end as well, let me show you the box. It had the same bottom end as this, which is a little bit less, ever so slightly less than the standard YZ125 plug, but it did not have the top end of this one. So this plug had less bottom end, but not more top end. So that's a failure. This plug had a little less bottom, but more top. So that's one to be played with right there. So I'm gonna go back to the stock and do a run just to get a real good back-to-back, kind of refreshing my memory, but I think this is a good one for top end. So let's go for another run. Well, for me, that plug right here is a winner. It's a 10 heat range, so I think that's going to be okay with me on the track, pushing it hard. I don't think I'm going to have an issue fouling out plugs or anything. Not after you do some head work and you got the jetting right. 10s are usually just fine, especially if you're running them hard. But this plug definitely makes more top end than the stock BR9 EIX. I think it's because that I'm just guessing here. I'm not no engineer, but I think it's just because the electrode is a little bit deeper. I don't know. Maybe it ever so slightly slows down the flame front up at the top end, which is almost equivalent to slightly retarding your timing. I don't know. I'm just guessing, but it's zingier up top. Revs out a little harder. Oh, this plug makes you want to rev it out. It does make a tad bit less bottom, like on the very bottom. So if that's what you're looking for, just stick with the stock plug. But if you're looking for top end, as of right now, this one's a winner. Now, you know, the track was canceled today, so I won't be able to test at the track right yet. But next week, I'll be testing her out at the track, see how all this work pans out actually on the track. And while I'm there, I'll go back. After I get used to this plug for a little while, I'll go back to the stock BR9 EIX and see what the comparison is on the track. But as of right now, this one's looking like a winner. So, all right, let's go ride. Back in the shop, it's Monday morning. Awesome weekend of testing and tuning and riding. It was nice to have my wife out there on Sunday. That's actually where we had our first date, right out there at Croom. So it was a ride date. So anytime we go out there, it's more like an anniversary for us and a ride. Just a recap on the changes I made and the testing and tuning. The Pro Circuit pipe, that was a winner for me. It makes a little bit less on the very, very bottom, but it shines more as soon as the power band kicks in. It is nice and crisp and clean on the bottom though, so that's good. It has a good feeling. It gives the bike a very good even crispness from the very bottom all the way to the very top, and has just a good power band. So that's a good pipe. The head mod changes that I mentioned in the beginning of the video, where I set the squish span on the very outer edge to 32 thousandths, and near stock compression ratio, pretty much just copied the stock compression ratio. That was a winner as well. Definitely makes more power. In the description down below are provided links to the videos of me putting this build together that I was testing in this video. So if you're interested in catching the earlier videos of the step-by-steps, all the stuff I did to get this bike this far, check the description. They're all down there. For the spark plugs, on the right you got the BR9 EIX. That is the stock plug for the YZ125. And on the left, the BR10 EC-MIX. That's a plug used in a lot of KTMs. This plug was a winner for me. I was interested in possibly moving up to a 10 heat range, so that's why I got this. It makes a little more up top. It makes the power band more zingier up top. It almost feels like the difference. It almost feels like the Pro Circuit pipe. The same changes the Pro Circuit pipe did to the bike, that plug did like the same type of changes to the bike as well. So it kind of double stacked on top of the Pro Circuit pipe, which is good. If you're looking for a little more bottom end, it wouldn't hurt just to stick with the BR9 EIX, the stock YZ125 plug, because it does make a little bit better bottom end. That's how it looks when it's in the chamber. You can see how the center electrode, the center part right there, and the ground strap sit a little taller, but with the ped on the bike obviously lower. So it sits more, a little bit more towards the middle of the combustion chamber. And then the BR10 EC IMX, you'll notice that this one sits a little bit, let me get a good angle on it right here, a little bit deeper. The center electrode is a little bit deeper in there, and it has like a concave to the outer ring of the plug. And I believe with it sitting deeper, or should I say more on the roof, when it's on the bike, more on the roof of the combustion chamber, it probably, again, I'm not an engineer, but I'm thinking it starts the flame kernel or flame front way deep up in here, and allows it to spread out equally. Instead of coming from the center, it's coming from the very top and coming down instead of coming from the center. But that increased top end pull made the bike a little bit zingier in the top end and increased some over rev actually. So that's good. Now it is a 10 heat range. You'll notice this plug's pretty clean still. I ran this plug for about an hour trail ride, and it still came out. That's an hour on the trails. You know, some people are like, well, the 10 might be too cold, but that's an hour on the trails with good jetting. It's done fine. I did order a 9 to try out. The same type of plug, but a 9. I got that on the way. I'll try that out this weekend at 74. One thing that does change when you change heat ranges of plugs is the socket that's up in here. The colder the plug, the less of a socket you have up in here, or a pocket, and the hotter the plug, the deeper it is. So it actually does ever so slightly, mildly change your compression ratio. But I'm gonna try the 10 of this plug the 9 of this plug this weekend. I think I'm gonna end up sticking with the 10 overall, but let's see, you know. And as for the cylinder head, this is just a stock head right here, but I think I'm gonna stick with the 32 thousandths after testing this weekend. 30, you know, right here, measuring it from the outer ring right here, the 32 thousandths seem to do real good. In the next coming 2 weeks, probably not by this weekend, but probably in 2 weeks, I'm gonna re-chamber this head to copy the same squish band, 32 thousandths right here in the outer ring, but I'm going to use a slightly higher compression ratio than what I currently have on the bike right now, and see how that does. And then every week I'll drop the compression ratio a little bit more by eating up this dome, by opening up this dome a little bit more, and then maybe even go below the compression ratio of that head right there that as of right now is a winner. And that way I can fine tune it. I can see how each compression ratio affects the power band and fine tune it for exactly what I'm looking for. But as of right now, this thing is ripping. I mean, it's riding sharp. So as of right now, it should be good. Me and the wife had an opportunity to drag race them, and she's actually pretty good on the throttle. She's a tough competitor on a drag race. We started out in second gear. Remember, my bike started out as a copy of her bike. The only modifications her bike has is a YZ piston and a shorty silencer, and I started out with that on mine, but now I have the Pro Circuit pipe, the head, the spark plug, and that's it as far as mods over hers. I got the same shorty silencer and YZ piston, but we did a drag race. We started out in second gear, so we didn't have to worry about any hold shot issues. By the time we hit fifth gear, my rear wheel was probably about 2 to 3 feet in front of her front wheel. So that's a pretty good improvement as far as overall acceleration. That was from second to fifth gear. A good hard straight pull on some nice wet sand. It's got a chance to really tax some motors out there. So real impressed with how the bike turned out as far as the tuning so far. And really surprised that the spark plug actually made that much of a difference. I think it's cool when I find things this small and this cheap that actually do make a difference. So that was pretty cool to see. Again, I will be trying a 9 out this weekend, the proper heat range for the bike, although I think a 10's fine, one step cooler. I mean, if you're running real hard on the track, wide open for a real long, considerable amount of time, sometimes it's good to go to one heat range colder. So that's probably not going to be a bad thing. But I'll try out the 9 just for testing's sake. And as always, I appreciate every single one of you guys to sit here and take your time to watch these videos. Thanks to my wife. I appreciate you coming out on Sunday and joining the ride with me and giving me an opportunity to drag race you against your own bike. It was a really good weekend. Stay tuned. Next weekend I'm going to take her to 74 and do a little bit more tuning and try out the 9 heat range plug over the 10. And then the following week I will be testing even a different head profile. Basically, I'm looking to dial this thing in as close, as perfect as I can get it with as minimum amount of money as I can dump into it as well. Catch you guys later.